Only 40% of our nation's fourth graders are considered proficient in mathematics. Because of this shocking statistic, arts education in schools is highly controversial. Many people claim that the arts are a distraction from more important subjects like math, that they're too costly, they're just frivolous. And I'm here to tell you that arts education and arts integration, meaning using the arts to teach other subjects, is in fact the most effective way to solve this huge problem in the United States that we're having. Now you might be thinking, why do I care? I'm a college student. Elementary school doesn't matter to me. But this should matter very much to you, because the patterns we establish now in education will determine how your kids and grandkids are educated and what kind of world we all live in when these kids grow up to be leaders. I'm an elementary education major, and so I've seen what works to help students learn and what doesn't. In this speech, I'm going to first talk a little bit about the problems that we're having in the United States with falling test scores, and then explain why arts education and integration might actually be the best solution to these problems. So, simply stated, the problem is that in an effort to bolster the United States and students' proficiency in mathematics and science particularly, the arts are being cut from public school curricula. Falling test scores and consistent outrankings by other countries have led to a major focus on particularly subjects like science and mathematics, and we've poured billions of dollars and millions of hours into trying to solve this problem, but we've had really very little impact with all these efforts. Because of this intensive focus, arts budgets have simultaneously decreased. The National Center for Education Statistics reported that in the 2009-2010 school year, only 3% of elementary schools in the United States offered dance, and only 4% offered theater. This is a 20% decrease from a decade ago. So although I can't claim this definitively, it doesn't seem like a coincidence that as arts education has declined, so have our scores in other subjects. So now, on to what I believe to be the solution, which is arts integration. Opponents claim that the arts are unnecessary, that they just serve to be something fun that helps break up the school day and give teachers a break from their students. And these things are all true, but arts have way more potential than that. A refocus on integrating the arts into curriculum is what I believe to be the most effective solution to the problem of falling test scores and children who are just not proficient in these subjects. Granted, it's not a magic pill, but I think it's the best we've got. So consider the following evidence. First, think about the nature of young children. Young children can't think abstractly, and this idea is cemented in well-known and respected child psychologist Jean Piaget's theory of child development, which relies on a stage-wise approach to development. So he says that it's not until kids are about 12 years old, which is ironically the time that they're leaving elementary school, that they can think abstractly. And so for this reason, science and mathematics have long been considered very difficult subjects to teach to young children because they just can't think about abstract concepts like that. And you might remember this being an elementary schooler and feeling frustrated with learning math. And if you don't remember, call your parents because they'll remind you how miserable it was to try and teach you why flip the second and multiply works for dividing fractions. We can all agree that mathematics education is important to the future of these young children, and so they need concrete ways to access this abstract material. And the arts provide that. That's where the arts shine. Secondly, in contrast to claims that arts education takes away time and resources from other more important subjects like math and science, the arts have actually been proven to increase students' learning effectiveness in these and all subject areas. Leanne Brulette, who is a researcher at the University of California, Irvine, worked with a colleague to try to see if using the arts could help students better learn physical science concepts. So she worked with almost 8,000 3rd through 5th grade students and gave some students just traditional instruction in physical science and some students arts integrated lessons in the same topics, and found that after 9 weeks, the students in the arts integrated group performed significantly better on their test, suggesting that they learned a lot more physical science by using the arts. The arts have also been proven to increase retention of material. Researchers Hardiman Rin and Jarmo Slaka from Johns Hopkins University wanted to see if the arts could help 5th graders retain science content that they'd learned, and so they divided these students into an arts integrated group and a traditional teaching group, and then tested them at the end of the unit and 2 months later. And they found that at the 2 months mark, the students who were in the arts group had an average retention rate of 97.6% of the material, while students in the traditional group only retained about 70% of the material. Additionally, an arts-heavy curriculum helps increase students' motivation, their engagement. I'm sure that all of you, even in college, have had times where you felt like you could learn the material, but maybe you just didn't want to, and maybe you even skipped class because of it. This is a challenge for elementary school students as well. Brulette worked with some other researchers, and they told kindergarten through second grade students when arts integration lessons would be given, and compared attendance on those days when those lessons were given versus days when they weren't, and found that on the days when the arts integration lessons were given, there was a 10% reduction in the absence rate. And in the education world, that is huge. That's a huge number, especially because schools receive funding based on their attendance. So obviously, claims that arts education is pointless, that it's detrimental to learning, they're just far from true. Arts are necessary. They strengthen students' ability to learn, their ability to retain, and their desire and motivation to learn. And in our world that's becoming increasingly technical and competitive, we need these benefits to pull the United States out of this pit that we're in education. Now, I admit, there is some cost required to implement quality arts education programs. That's true. But considering how much money we've spent, billions of dollars, on iPads and math manipulatives and technology programs that have gotten us nowhere, it's time to redirect that money to an evidence-based approach, the arts.